The boardroom fell silent as I pulled Ryan into a deep kiss right there in front of everyone. Chaos exploded the second our lips met. Gasps rippled through the 20 executives seated around the long oak table. Phones clattered. Someone dropped a coffee cup. Ryan's hands froze on my shoulders for half a second before he jerked back, eyes wide with pure shock. "Ethan, what the hell?" he breathed, voice cracking just enough for the whole room to hear. My face burned hotter than the projector light, still flickering with quarterly slides. Nobody was watching anymore. I had just torpedoed both our careers in one impulsive move, but in that frozen heartbeat, I didn't care. For 2 years, Ryan Thompson had been my secret everything. Late-night strategy sessions, shared laughs over terrible takeout, the one person who made the cutthroat world of Apex marketing feel survivable. And today, when the CEO announced Ryan was taking the fall for the client loss, I actually caused something inside me snapped. I couldn't let him lose everything without knowing why I'd been protecting him. Now the truth was out in the worst way possible. Security didn't drag me out, but HR did, politely, coldly. "Mr. Reynolds, we'll need you to leave the premises immediately." I nodded like a robot, grabbing my laptop bag while every eye in the hallway burned holes into my back. Whispers followed me to the elevator. "Did you see that? Ethan kissed Ryan Thompson. Is he gay?" Ryan looked disgusted. By the time the doors closed, I was already trending in the company's Slack under Boardroom Kiss. My phone buzzed nonstop. "Mom from Texas. Ethan Michael Reynolds, call me right now." "Dad, just one word, disgrace." I stared at the screen until the elevator hit the lobby, then switched it off. Outside on Park Avenue, the October wind slapped my face, but it felt like mercy compared to the stairs inside. I walked for hours past yellow cabs and hot dog carts until my legs gave out on a bench in Bryant Park. The kiss replayed on loop. Ryan's lips had been warm, surprised, not exactly pulling away at first. Or was that wishful thinking? I'd spent 24 months falling for a man I convinced myself was straight. Ryan with his easy California smile, weekend hikes in the Catskills, and the way he always remembered how I took my coffee. We'd been paired on the biggest account of the year, the one that tanked because I misread the client's budget. I'd begged him to let me fix it quietly. Instead, he'd shouldered the blame in yesterday's prep meeting. "I've got this, Ethan. You've carried enough." That was the moment I knew I loved him. And today, watching the CEO point the finger at him, I couldn't stay silent anymore. Back in my Hell's Kitchen studio, I poured cheap whiskey and stared at the city lights. The rumors were already everywhere. A junior analyst texted, "Dude, Ryan just stormed out after you. HR's calling an emergency meeting." Another, "Someone recorded it. It's on the internal drive." I laughed bitterly. Of course it was. In Manhattan finance-adjacent circles, nothing stayed private for longer than a coffee break. I pictured Ryan at his desk right now, fielding the same questions I dreaded my whole life. Growing up in a small Texas town where gay was still whispered like a curse, I'd learned to bury everything. College in Austin helped a little, but New York was supposed to be freedom. Instead, I'd fallen for the one colleague who made hiding impossible. The next morning, my inbox was a war zone. Apex HR, indefinite administrative leave, pending investigation. The CEO's assistant, client called, word is spreading. Damage control required. And then the text I'd both hoped for and feared. "Ryan, we need to talk. My place. 8 p.m. Don't bring the press." I stared at it until the letters blurred. Was he furious? Relieved? I showered, changed into the only clean button-down I owned, and took the subway uptown like a man walking to his own execution. Ryan's apartment in Murray Hill smelled like fresh laundry and the Thai food he always ordered. He opened the door in jeans and a faded Stanford hoodie, hair still damp from a shower. "No suit today. No armor. Come in," he said quietly, stepping aside. The living room was exactly as I remembered, minimalist, one wall of books, the hiking boots by the door. He didn't offer me a seat. Instead, he leaned against the kitchen island, arms crossed. "You kissed me in front of the entire C-suite, Ethan." What was that? His voice wasn't angry. It was exhausted. "I've been fielding calls from my parents in LA, my sister, half the marketing team. They're asking if we're—" He trailed off, rubbing his neck. I covered for you on the client mess because you're my friend, my best friend here. And now everyone thinks it was something else. I swallowed the lump in my throat. It wasn't just the client thing. I've been in love with you for 2 years, Ryan. Every late night, every laugh, every time you looked at me like I mattered. I couldn't watch them fire you for my mistake. I panicked. The words hung between us like smoke. Ryan's face went through a dozen emotions: shock, confusion, something softer I couldn't name. Then he turned away, staring out the window at the darkening street. You picked the worst possible moment to tell me. I'm not even sure what I am right now. In the company, they're already talking about restructuring. One of us is probably gone by Friday. He looked back, eyes tired. I need time, Ethan. We both do. I left without arguing. Outside, the city felt smaller, meaner. That night, the first viral post hit LinkedIn. Apex Marketing's very public coming out moment. Ethics or HR nightmare. Comments poured in. Some supportive, most not. By morning, I was the office pariah, and Ryan was the victim. The rumors twisted. I'd pressured him. I'd been obsessed. I'd risked the whole merger. None of it true. All of it believed. My phone rang again. Mom crying, Dad silent. We raised you better than this, she said. Come home and fix this. I hung up and booked a one-way ticket to nowhere. Anywhere but here. The next 72 hours blurred into a nightmare of hushed conversations and closed doors. Apex put me on unpaid leave to avoid further disruption. Ryan got a warning, but kept his job for now. I packed a suitcase in my studio, deleted half my social apps, and crashed on a friend's couch in Brooklyn. The friend, Marcus, a fellow marketer I'd known since orientation, poured me beer and listened. Or so I thought. By the weekend, he'd texted the group chat. Ethan finally snapped. Always knew he had a thing for Ryan. Betrayal number 1. I blocked him without a reply. The real gut punch came on Wednesday when Ryan texted again. HR wants a joint statement. They're saying if we deny everything, this blows over. I met him at a neutral coffee shop near Union Square, the kind with too many plants and not enough privacy. He looked exhausted, dark circles under the same blue eyes that used to light up when we closed the deal. I told them it was a misunderstanding, he said quietly, stirring sugar into his latte. That you were stressed about the client and it got out of hand. They bought it for now. But Ethan, you can't keep pushing this. My family's conservative too. Dad's already asking if I need to come home. He paused, voice dropping. I like you. A lot. But I'm not ready to blow up my life the way you just did. The words landed like stones. I'd risked everything for a man who wasn't ready. I nodded, paid for both coffees, and walked out into the rain. That night, I wrote my resignation letter on the subway back to Brooklyn. Effective immediately. No notice. Apex accepted it within an hour, probably relieved. I forwarded my client files to the team, deleted my work email, and sat on the couch staring at the wall until the sun came up. 2 years of 16-hour days, awards, promotions, all gone because I'd finally been honest for 5 seconds. The following weeks were survival mode. I crashed with another acquaintance in Queens, took freelance gigs, editing pitch decks for startups that didn't ask questions. The rumors follow me anyway. A headhunter I trusted ghosted after hearing things. My LinkedIn flooded with connection requests from journalists wanting the gay office kiss story. I went dark online. Mom called every Sunday, alternating between tears and lectures about sin and Texas values. Dad stopped calling altogether. I started running along the East River at dawn just to feel something other than shame. Ryan never texted again. I told myself that was closure. Then came the call that changed the trajectory. An old college roommate in San Francisco offered me a junior role at a boutique agency focused on tech clients. We don't care about drama, he said. We care about results. And you still deliver. I bought a one-way ticket west the same day. As the plane lifted over JFK, I watched Manhattan shrink below me and promised myself one thing. I would never again let fear make my choices for me. The city I'd loved had broken me. Maybe the next one would rebuild. San Francisco greeted me with fog and possibility. The agency was small, 12 people in a converted warehouse in the Mission District. My new boss, Lena, a no-nonsense lesbian who'd come out in the 90s, took one look at my resume and said, "We heard about the kiss. Good for you. Now, prove the talent matches the guts. I threw myself into work like a man drowning. 12-hour days turned into 14. I learned SEO, content strategy, the tech bro language of venture capital. Nights, I walked the hills until my legs burned, letting the Pacific wind strip away the last layers of Texas shame. 6 months and I finally came out to my family properly, not in panic but in a calm video call. Mom cried again. Dad stared at the floor. "We love you," Mom said eventually, "but we don't understand." It wasn't acceptance, but it was a start. I hung up and felt lighter than I had in years. The agency promoted me to senior strategist after I landed a major SaaS client. Colleagues started inviting me to happy hours. For the first time, I went on an actual date with a graphic designer named Alex who made me laugh without making me hide. It wasn't Ryan, but it was honest. Still, late at night, I sometimes scrolled old photos of the two of us at team offsites, wondering if he'd moved on, if he ever thought about me. A year passed. Then two. The rumors back east faded into industry gossip. Apex restructured. Ryan survived and apparently thrived. LinkedIn showed him promoted to director of client strategy. Every time his face appeared in my feed, my chest tightened. I told myself I was over it. I dated, traveled to LA for weekends, even joined a queer hiking group in Marin. Life was good, stable, respected mine. Then the conference invitation arrived. National Marketing Summit, New York City. Keynote speakers include Ryan Thompson, Apex Marketing. The email sat in my inbox for 3 days before I hit accept. I wasn't the same scared man who'd fled. I needed to see if he'd changed too. The summit was held at the Javits Center, same city that had once spat me out. I arrived in a tailored charcoal suit I'd bought with my first real bonus. Name badge reading Ethan Reynolds, founder and CEO, Pacific Strategy Group. My own agency started 18 months ago with 2 freelancers and a dream. We'd grown to 15 people and a waiting list. Respect wasn't given. I'd earned it the hard way. The opening night mixer buzzed with suits and small talk. I spotted Ryan across the room before he saw me. Taller than I remembered, hair shorter, the same easy confidence, but with new lines around his eyes that spoke of pressure. He was shaking hands with the Apex CEO, now smiling like the golden boy he'd always been. When our eyes finally met, the crowd seemed apart. He excused himself and walked straight toward me. "Ethan," he said, voice low, "you look different. Good different." We stood there awkwardly until he gestured toward the bar. "Buy you a drink? We should talk." Over whiskey, we danced around the past. He told me the company had nearly fired him too after the kiss, but he'd fought HR with performance data. The rumors had forced him to confront things he'd buried since college. I wasn't straight, Ethan. I was scared. My dad's military background, the industry, everything. When you kissed me, I froze because I wanted to kiss you back and couldn't admit it in front of everyone. The confession hit harder than the original kiss. All those years I'd carried guilt for ruining his life, and he'd been carrying the same weight. He asked about my agency. I showed him the deck on my phone, client logos, revenue growth, the team photo where I stood proudly in the center. "You did it," he said quietly. "You turned the worst day of our lives into this." Then came the twist I never saw coming. There was a third person, he admitted. The junior analyst who recorded everything. She leaked it on purpose. She wanted my job and figured outing us both would clear the path. I only found out last year when she got fired for something else. Betrayal layered on betrayal. The rumors hadn't been random. They'd been weaponized. We talked until the bar closed. No promises, just honesty. When I left the hotel that night, the New York skyline didn't feel hostile anymore. It felt like a chapter 1 could finally close, or maybe reopen. The next day, Ryan sat in the audience during my panel on ethical leadership in marketing. I spoke about owning mistakes, building cultures where people don't have to hide, and the power of second chances. My voice didn't shake once. Afterward, he waited by the stage. "You were incredible," he said. "The kid who kissed me in a boardroom grew up." We spent the rest of the conference together, panels, coffee breaks, late-night talks on the High Line. Old chemistry crackled under new maturity. He told me he'd come out quietly at Apex 6 months ago. The company had responded with a quiet pride campaign. "They respect me now because I stopped hiding," he said. "But I never stopped thinking about you." On the last night, we walked through Central Park under string lights. I have a choice to make, he said, stopping under an old oak. Apex offer me VP of strategy, big title, big money. But they want me in New York full-time. And you're in San Francisco. He looked at me, eyes steady. I'm done choosing fear. If you'll have me, I'll turn it down and figure out something here. We're there. Anywhere, as long as it's with you. The words were the pivotal moment I'd waited years for. No more misunderstanding. No more sacrifice alone. I took his hand right there on the path, public and unafraid. Let's build something real this time. I answered. No more running. We flew back to San Francisco together the next week. He joined my agency as partner, bringing expertise and the quiet respect he'd earned the hard way. My family slowly warmed. Mom even visited last summer and hugged him. The industry noticed. Features an adage, invitations to speak at summits. The man who'd once been the subject of office gossip was now the leader everyone quoted. And I stood beside him, finally at peace with the boy from Texas who'd been brave for 5 seconds and changed 2 lives forever. 3 years after that boardroom kiss, we stood on the same New York rooftop where I'd shot the cover photo for our agency's anniversary campaign. Ryan adjusted my tie, smiling the way only he could. Remember when you thought one kiss would end us? He asked. I laughed. I thought it would end everything. Below us the city hummed. Same streets, same skyline, completely different meaning. My agency had just one agency of the year. Ryan had been named one of Forbes 40 Under 40. The rumors were ancient history. What remained was respect earned through honesty, resilience, and the choice we both made to stop hiding. We'd faced more tests. Family holidays where dad still got quiet, clients who raised eyebrows, the occasional troll online. But every time we chose each other anyway. I'd learned that love isn't the absence of fear, it's walking through it together. Ryan had taught me that respect isn't given by titles or silence. It's built by showing up as your whole self, even when the world whispers otherwise. The boy who kissed his colleague in panic had become the man who built a legacy on courage. As the sun set over Manhattan, I pulled him close. No cameras, no audience. Just us. Thank you for not running, I whispered. He kissed me softly, public proud hours. Thank you for starting the fire, he answered. The city lights flickered on below, bright and endless, exactly like the future we'd claimed. In the end, this story taught me that the bravest thing any of us can do is refuse to let other people's fear define our worth. Rumors hurt, families struggle, workplaces panic, but time and truth have a way of sorting the noise from the signal. If you're carrying a secret that's costing you peace, consider the cost of silence versus the cost of honesty. The second is scary, but the first is slower poison. Grow anyway. Love anyway. The respect you earn after the storm is the kind no one can take away. And sometimes the person you thought you lost forever was just waiting for the same courage you finally found.